All right, everyone, it's time for Vermont Issues episode 100. Wind energy is going to be a bit more limited in Vermont because of new sound rules taking place. Actually, a stricter decibel limit on the larger wind projects is different. Like if you hook up like one of those mini turbines in your backyard, like nobody really can hear it unless it's in the middle of a huge storm, windstorm, and then people are hearing the wind more than the windmill. One problem, though, is that when you put large numbers of windmills up on a ridgeline, that sound can reverberate down into the valleys below fairly easily. Now, I'm not a NIMBY person. My opposition, generally speaking, to hillside wind farms has nothing to do with some people. They're like, well, we want wind. It's great, until they plan to put it exactly where they live. No, 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 no. Put it on the other side of the mountain or something. We don't want to see it here. We don't want it to destroy the view. It'll lower the land price. It'll sound funny. A dead bird's head will land in my backyard and spiral all the way down the hill and land with a hollow, sickening thump on my rooftop. That's their problem. I'm not like that. As far as attractiveness, it doesn't matter. Although for tourism purposes, yeah, you do need to worry about that because remember where a huge amount of our state's money comes from. My opposition has been consistently, there is a much more efficient way to generate green or renewable or whatever family-friendly label they want to affix to it these days, energy within our state. There is an easier way to do it. It's called rooftop solar. Here's the thing. It seems like there is a continuous problem with the manufacturing of massive and highly centralized energy production sites when you could just locally produce a very large proportion of all the energy you need with rooftop solar. If a person covers their roof in solar panels, the overall installation materials cost is going to be lower than the kind of ridgeline wind that we're talking about. You're using no additional land instead of clearing out an area to build a solar field, which is what they've done. Like here in Rutland, there are several small fields of solar panels. You don't need to do that. Just talk to the local gas stations, mount them on their roofs, and give them a little bit of a subsidy or a break on their taxes for hosting them. That's how you get it accomplished. Have the business roofs that are high enough up so people aren't really seeing them. Cover them in solar. More efficient, isn't it? It's also cheaper to maintain. Look, you get your solar panels above a business that is generating some degree of warmth. Some of that snow melt is going to occur on those panels. I know they have panels now that they warm themselves a little bit to keep them from freezing over. And some of them actually have wiping systems and stuff for dust, which makes sense, like self-maintenance, and it doesn't require that much energy. That's a good idea generally. But rudimentary rooftop solar is so much more efficient at this point. The efficiency of solar is inclining steadily. The efficiency of wind remains about the same. It's cheaper to install the solar. It's more, over time it's going to become more efficient. You don't need to bulldoze a tree. You don't need to build a road. You put it on roofs. It's easier to maintain than these windmills. There's no struggle with rooftop solar. There has been no argument over not in my backyard bullshit either. If your goal is to create as much green, again, so-called energy as possible in as quick a time frame as possible, you should be. Now, there was another article today about some solar city, like some Tesla-related bullshit. The state was going after them for a misleading contract or breach of contract or something. My goodness, you're trying to screw up home solar. While at the same time you're trying to prevent wind from being built, and then you want to talk about how if we don't have 100,000% green energy within the next 2 years, the whole world will be destroyed. Yeah, I'm thinking that on one side your argument's a little bit flawed. I'm thinking either your actions are really dumb, or you know better and you're just pandering. Here's the thing though, you do need one or the other. We do, clearly. The United States economy, Vermont's economy, whatever, is only going to remain competitive if we're generating as much clean, again, so-called, energy as possible ourselves. What we should be doing is looking into making solar panels more efficient for longer periods. Like, can we get a panel that'll last 1,000 years? Can we do something like that? If so, great. I'm sure our science can suggest something that would let us build them more cheaply, too. Look, people thought that a lot of the oil you couldn't get at, a lot of the fuel resources we did provably have, we couldn't really get to effectively. Then we developed, fracking in the modern sense. Oh, you can actually frack sideways. Well, that's great. This can be so much more efficient. Now, of course, we're in the middle of an energy boom. we can sit there for 30, 40 years worrying about running out of oil and all of a sudden have more oil than we could ever possibly use for the next 100 years. If we can do that, we can do similar things with solar and wind technology. They have wind turbines now that instead of being a standard windmill, they look like a little tower, and they got like rotors all the way down. They look like a big screw standing out of the ground. They've got similar generators that are just like, you know, those things on the side of the door that you twang, they're like a spring. They've got things like that now that have some sort of energy production system inside them, and they sort of wave back and forth in the wind and generate friction. I'm not sure how efficient that would be long term. I think it would wear out or snap off, but it's an interesting idea. We've got such things. Tidal energy is being harnessed. That's something 20 years ago, if you talked about, hey, oh, why aren't we getting energy from the tides? Well, you're crazy. We can't possibly do that. No, energy comes from like dead dinosaurs, which is what they told us at the time. Now, ridgeline wind is ridiculous anyway. Scarifies land, harming tourist revenue, harming environment. Requires infrastructure to actually get up to the ridge line to, continuously maintain. Rooftop solar, you don't have any of those problems. The road's already there. The structure's already there. For the most part, it'll clean itself off. You don't really need to maintain it. It's more efficient for longer periods. I mean, we can't do tidal energy in Vermont. We don't have ocean access. We don't really have anything we can dam up again without flooding out, most of the populated parts of the state. There's a lot we can't do, but rooftop solar is something we can. And before people say, yeah, well, it's cold and dark, so you'll never break even, bullshit, Germany's doing that. Northern Germany seems to be able to generate a huge proportion of all of its power needs in some areas from solar. Northern Germany's way more cold and bleak than Vermont. I don't think that we're going to have a problem. Then you go on down to nice, balmy, tropical southern Bavaria, a little bit different maybe. There it's like, oh, we don't even need energy. Oh, we never have to worry about heating our homes. To a Vermonter, that would actually be kind of warm, by the way. That's a freaky part. You look at a map of Europe and sort of where the countries are, it's funny. But Vermont, I think, is on the same order as like central France or something. It's actually very bizarre. Anyway, that would be my suggestion. Move towards rooftop solar. Look, let the state come in and give people a property tax break or something. Say, hey, you want to host this on your roof? Well, it'll certainly make us all more resistant to blackouts. We can harden the system a bit more, decentralize. It'll be more efficient. You'll be drawing off your power. We'll build it. We'll buy the stuff, have it put up. We're the ones contracting with the private contractors to come in and build these things. All you're doing is supplying a roof to host it on. You get some benefits in return. State gets some benefits. Everybody wins. Why don't we do something like that? Wouldn't it make more sense? At the very least, do that with businesses and sort of abandon these wind projects. Then, 10, 15 years later, some NIMBY group living around has prevented it from even going up. What's the fucking point? You're never going to get your utility scale wind project most of the time because the community will shut it down. They'll prevent it from being built. There is no point to bothering to do that. Rooftop solar, though, nobody can say anything because it's your friggin' roof. It's just the same as any other sort of roofing material. It just happens to be generating energy. How lovely is that? That's about all. Peace out.